So has anyone ever compared themselves to another speaker on stage? So it's great when we do that to get a tip, to say, I'm going to maybe try that next time. But it's not so good when we start to go into better than or less than thinking. So I remember a time I was going to come onto a stage like this for the first time. And I was watching presenter after presenter go, and I kept feeling more and more insecure. And I started to compare myself and think, maybe I don't belong here. I'm not sure I'm as good as all the other speakers. By the time I got on stage, I had worked myself so far up into insecurity that I wasn't breathing. And then when I get off the stage, that inner critic voice kicked up even more and said, would have been nice if you would have breathed. And it's not too late to skip the media interview and just run out the back door to save yourself from embarrassment. And at that time I said, Mom, what are you doing in my head? We all have inner critic voices, and they sometimes remind us of our most critical parent. So I knew then I had to take myself on an inner journey because I wanted to be a speaker. I'm running a global leadership development firm. I need to be confident in who I am. I discovered the authenticity code. That is how I cracked the code, by applying it to myself. And I found an antidote to this critical voice. And that is to stand in your greatest gift. What I hope today to do is to inspire you to connect with your greatest gift and present yourself authentically. So I'm going to talk about 3 things. One is comparison and comparing to others. Another is asking you 2 questions to get you in touch with your greatest gift. And the third is to challenge you to do and be and stand in that greatest gift. So first is comparison to others. If you think about it, in my story, I was in imposter syndrome. So I was feeling I did not belong. I wasn't good enough. So if you think of a continuum, and this is the less than side of that continuum. It's when your inner critic kicks up. It's when you go into imposter syndrome and you feel you don't belong. There's another side too. Do you know that side? It's the opposite. So this side is really about feeling you're better than everyone. Superiority complex. I call this your inner boaster. And then you might ask, okay, well, where does confidence exist on this continuum? It's actually not in the middle, which many people think it is. It is completely outside of that continuum, because that continuum is our wounded ego. But when we can stand in our greatest gift and be of service to an audience and know why you're there and how to bring that great gift to your audience and be of service, that is when you become the presentation. That is when you are so confident in who you truly are and that you're doing your work. So I'd like you to think about 2 questions. And the first question is, what is a key strength that comes naturally to you that over and over again in your life, you have been told you are so good at this? So mine is helping people to tell the truth. And many times people will say to me, Sharon, you are so good at this. Or, boy, I've never told anyone this before. Maybe yours is being humorous. Maybe it's you're a clear communicator. But really think about what is that for you and connect with that today. So the second question is, what's the one thing you most wish your parents would have given you growing up? Our greatest wound is actually part of our greatest gift to give. So when I was growing up, I always wished that my parents would have helped me to see and celebrate my unique gifts and talents, my authenticity. That's what I most wanted. And they didn't give that to me. They're great parents. When I finally got in touch with this piece and I said, I'm going to start to give this because I know what it feels like to not have it, that is when I went to that 7-figure business. That is when I published that best-selling book. So I want you to think about what that is for you. So your greatest strength plus your greatest wound is your greatest gift to give. How many of you would still like to have a greater impact and influence in the world? So we've been working with executives, VPs, C-suite of global, sometimes Fortune 50 companies. That was only 2 questions of a 10-question exercise that helps you get in touch with your authentic brand. We have so many more exercises, and we do these leadership training programs at my company, Inside Out Learning. You can look it up at insideoutlearning.com. When you connect with your greatest gift and you're there to give it, then you become the presentation. So if you do want to go to your next level of influence and impact, I put it in a book. It is having a coach in your living room. It is taking you through the Authenticity Code program that right now is only done inside of corporations. So I hope that you do pick up a copy and you do the work, because I promise you it will change your life. I'm Dr. Sharon Lamm-Hartman, and I am the presentation.